Good afternoon, everyone. This is Jason Bitbender Brink. Welcome to an amazing interview with the absolutely incomparable Will Wright and a bunch of the awesome team behind Vox and all things Vox related. We do not have the Vox Father on with us today, but we have Vox Father 2.0. Is that what we're going with, Ali? Are you Vox Mother? What's going on here?
I think Vox Mother is the canon right now.
Vox Mother is canon. Wonderful.
Yeah.
And Charlie Simpson and Jonathan Burke. But how are you guys doing today? How you doing, Will?
I'm doing great.
Awesome.
Good to be here.
Thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure.
And I apologize that you guys can't see me. You just get to see this cool little audio effect because I am in Austin, Texas at South by Southwest and did not bring my cameras with me. So yeah. But anyway, let's jump right in. I mean, we're going to get to some questions for the community later, but let's go ahead and do some intros. You guys know who I am. Would you like to introduce yourself, Will?
Okay, well, I'm a guy who's been making games for longer than I remember. I really love making experiences that players enjoy, and really like leaning into giving opportunities for players to be creative and make up their own worlds, their own stories, all that stuff. And I'm responsible for a lot of the Sim stuff, SimCity, The Sims, Simmer, SimAnt, all that weird Sim stuff.
Nice. I think I mentioned this to you when we were in Las Vegas at Galaverse, but I have one of those very limited edition Godzilla box original Sim Cities.
Yeah, the original Sim City, we had like this monster, Godzilla monster. Later, Toho was threatening to sue us. Toho makes the Godzilla movies, and so we had to change it to a tornado.
Oh,
so
okay.
only the first several thousand SimCity boxes had the Godzilla-looking creature on the front, and those are really collector's items.
Nice. Well, I will keep it safe. How about you, Charlie?
Yeah, I head up the design team and at Labs, and that includes the very talented Voxel art team, which so I've worked on the Vox project since the first one, Townstar, Mirandus, and lucky enough to do this one as well. So yeah, involved very much in the art production side of things and all the creative, the marketing, animations and trailers and things like that. So that's where I come in.
For those of you that don't know, there was a point in time, getting some echo there, someone. There was a point in time where everything looked suddenly amazing that was being produced by Gala. And that was Charlie and his team that made that happen. Ali, gonna go there next.
Yeah. First off, can confirm Charlie and team. Holy shit. And
yeah,
I don't know if you guys have seen in the videos and sneak peeks that we've sent out for this series of Vox, like holy shit, has the art team up this game.
Yeah.
But yeah, I am Ali, the Vox Mother, NF Doom in Discord. And yeah, I've kind of taken, well, I don't want to say I'm getting the torch from Vox Father, but helping make the vision a reality on Vox. I product manage, which means I don't actually do anything. I just kind of chase people to do stuff. But yeah, it's been a dream. I've a huge fan of Vox since the first series, and been really, really cool to work on this one.
Well, we're happy to have you here working on it. And chasing people to do stuff, super important. Jonathan, sir.
Hello, I'm Jonathan. I'm the technical lead behind Vox. Been with it since Gen 1, kind of started a lot of the systems that ended up into what we know as Vox today. So really love the project, and it's a real passion of mine.
Wonderful, thank you. And in the background, and nobody can hear him, is Paul doing all of the magic screen wizardry and making me have cool little lines around my picture. So let's dive right in, guys. Let's talk a little bit about what's going on. I know we've been working a little bit with AMC on this amazing new piece of title that we've got. You guys want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I can hit that. So, partnership with AMC. Obviously, all of you guys will be familiar with the Empires game, and we're super, super excited, and they were super excited to kind of get into this other opportunity with us in making a Walking Dead Vox series. They've been a dream to work with. So, shouts out to the guys on AMC Games. But yeah, it's I think this is our first time bringing Vox to mainstream IP, or bringing mainstream IP to Vox, and it's really cool to see, and I think we've been able to pull off something really, really cool. Um, and yeah, one of the perks of getting to work with AMC is we're always doing sort of contests and stuff in the lead up to the Vox drops. So now we kind of have them to lean on for cool stuff to give away to the community in exchange for that stuff.
Ooh,
Neek
giveaways.
and
Do you guys like
Bobblehead.
giveaways?
Do you guys
Nice.
like signed Walking Dead stuff?
Do you? It doesn't look like anyone likes signed Walking Dead stuff. We'll just move on. And for those of you, oh sorry.
I was just gonna say, make some noise if you guys are. So this is one thing they haven't committed to yet, but I think if we can show them some real interest, we'll turn up the temperature on that convo. But we're really trying to get some actual shit from the sets of The Walking Dead. Like I'm really angling for like a doorknob or something from Alexandria. Like as they start to wrap up the series and dismantle the sets, I want that stuff and I want to give it to the community.
Ali, I think we need to aim higher. Let's aim for like Negan's bat or something, and
yeah,
and then
Lucille,
if that doesn't work out.
Dibs on Lucille. I feel like that's going to be a good one there. And for those of you who are just joining us, you can participate in this discussion by joining our Discord at galagames.chat. We are in the Here and Now channel. So come in, say hi, and we'll get to some questions here in a few minutes. Charlie, before we get into like questions, one of the things that has been, absolutely stellar about all of this are the incredible visuals. I remember when we saw the very, very first Vox that you guys had put together. It was super, super cool. And every single time for every single, property that we've been discussing, they've been getting cooler and cooler and cooler. And it is the most incredible use of voxel art I think I've ever seen. So, I understand that you have a little bit that you'd like to share about that. Should we jump into that before we get to some questions?
Yeah, sure. I can run through a few. I've got a little presentation actually just to run through some of the actual process and
wait.
Slides.
Slides?
Slides. Yeah, I'm going
normal
on
slides. Okay, that's fine. We still love you.
Okay. I'll run through it. I think it's definitely moved on this time around. It's next level. Interestingly enough, we ran the first series was. We had one voxel artist, very, very talented guy. And now we have two very, very talented artists, Natalia and Billy. The first series, I managed to work with this artist through Instagram, just to chat. He was in Indonesia and, so it was amazing really. And then, this time around, just the level of detail, it just keeps building each time. But yeah, I've got a couple of slides. Sorry, Jason. I'll run through them very quickly. Can you guys see this? Should be queued up. You guys seeing this or not?
Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, from cube to vox. The voxel art is especially challenging because you're creating something that's you've got to have true likeness to the character, but you've got a very limited amount of options. So that's the first challenge. And you've got to find those distinguishable features of that person, bring it to life. So we make it harder as well because the voxel models are really quite small. And we've got some strict rules just to make sure that they remain cohesive and across all the series. So we don't tend to have any mouths unless there's a beard. And we've got flat faces. So there's really some big limitations there to bring out the personal distinguishable details. And yeah, it takes a lot of time and care from the artist to bring that to life. And I think, yeah, it really does come through with each series. We do improve, and I think that does show and set us apart as a NFT collectible project. Each class has like a predefined set of rules when it comes to the creation of the models, which allows us to generate. We start with we've got multiple different classes. This time it's, you know, we've split the classes up by the characters from the show. So we've got Rick, Michonne, Carl, and then you create a base model, and then on top of that you have the traits. So then it procedurally combines those, and you get this crazy looking dude over there. I did ask Natalia to pull out some of her favorite models and drop them into this presentation. So I've just got a few slides just to show you those. Hopefully you're recognizing some of these characters.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, this is the first time people are kind of laying eyes on a lot of these characters. I'm wondering, curious what people think. I think they're fucking gorgeous.
Was that Herschel?
Yeah, it'd be great to know what you guys think.
Herschel's like my favorite.
Yeah, that is Herschel, and yeah, he's featuring in this drop, which is awesome. Ezekiel, Jesus. I mean,
Jesus on the right. Yeah.
Love it. Yeah, Jesus on the right. And Abraham. I think before this call we were talking about cigars for some reason. Abraham's obviously a big cigar smoker, so that's may or may not feature. Can't say too much. But yeah, and I think this time round the difference was we've not really had any gore, and the voxel artists, you know, their briefing packs are a thing of nightmares, you know, because they've got all the different walkers from the show, really close details to capture those details. So if you go through the briefing pack, it really is something that can keep you awake at night.
It's terrifying.
It's terrifying. But yeah, I think we've got I think with Townstar we had 100 odd models. Miranda's it was 160, 180, and we've got over 300 this time around. So there is a lot more. And you know, the artists work. They're very, very good at what they do, and they have to work to quite a tight schedule because we turn these around so that, you know, they're having to generate a lot of these models quite quickly. And also we've got the approval process as well with AMC, which has been something we've not had before. And here you can see some of the more disturbing looking voxel characters. I think there is an eye popping out of this one.
I mean, what's crazier, Charlie, is like with the walkers and with the people, like, I mean, they're so recognizable. Like the fact that you've been able to distill a likeness into essentially cube art and capture it so well. Like you can tell that's Maggie, you can tell that's Jesus. I just think that's so fucking cool.
Yeah, I think it is amazing, and especially as the voxel models, they are quite small. So it makes it even harder. They've got flat face, as I said, and no mouths. So you're just removing features and having to sort of find those distinguishable features of each of the models and bring that to life. Yeah, I mean, amazing, really. And then what we've got this time round. Sorry, go on, Jace.
Sorry, I was just going to say, these look like they're actually based on actual walkers from the series. Is this true, or are these procedurally generated?
So the base models will be, but then they're procedurally generated with the different traits. So they kind of get mixed up, but they start off as, you know, in the briefing pack, we're actually looking at a walker from the show and recreating that.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
No worries.
Yeah, that's one of the fun intricacies of the approval process here is every walker had to be, and walkers are so hard to do. Like you're trying to convey decay and like different degrees of just decrepit skin and shit. And each one needs to be like very, like within a margin of error, recognizably a walker from the show, and you need to be able to point to the reference. And so that was more of a challenge because we didn't know that, and so we made like 100 of them, and then had to go back and map them to the walkers that were their inspiration. So that was a fun little hiccup. But yeah, a
I
little
think
behind
what's
the
really
scenes.
interesting about this is that you're seeing them static here, but once you see them animated and their movements can be unique, that is going to add a whole nother dimension of personality to each of these characters.
Gears already turning on the VOXverse, I will.
Yeah.
Well, let's dig into that a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, I think this is a cool, as McCarthy would have put it. This is like a how the sausage is made moment, Charlie. So I definitely appreciate that walkthrough. Is there any specific sneak peeks that you would like to share, or should we move on to the rest of things?
So that wasn't enough sneak peeks with the characters.
Okay. I guess that's fine. We'll just save some for leaks later. Whatever. That's okay. Okay, so let's dive in. Now, we've talked about from the very beginning, okay, what Vox will do, and rather more to the point, where Vox will live. And so we have this concept of what a VOXverse, let's call it, could become. Would you like to dig into that a little bit, Will?
Yeah, well, I mean, I love the idea that we have characters coming from different games into some shared space. What I really want to lean into is the idea that they take their experiences from these games and it totally defines their personality. So they might have an experience in Walking Dead or in Lodestar or whatever, and or Brandis, and now they have certain memories that influence their personality. They might have phobias or superpowers, or they might have a limp. Maybe they were chopping trees and a tree fell on them, and now they have a limp, which is kind of unique to them. But in some sense, all these game experiences coalesce into your Vox in the VOXverse. And you might even have a collection of these Voxes that you have that become a posse. They kind of work as a team. One's good at cooking, one's good at with a shotgun, whatever. But I think that's kind of where I want to go with all of this, is that how do we take your collective game experiences and bring them into one cohesive place and build a really unique experience there that's social, it's constructive. You're building out this entire city. You might be building out your domicile, you might be furnishing your apartment, whatever. But I want to figure out how to make that the hub for all of your game activities.
One of the things that I've always loved about the games that you've worked on is the fact that at a very fundamental level, typically, and I've played a lot of your games, typically it's not you that creates the game experience. You create a system that allows other people to create, through all of your other games that I've played, SimCity, The Sims. I even played the hell out of SimAnt back in the day. It always boils down to the creation of, you have given the user a bunch of tools that allows them to create and to build. In the context of VOXverse, is this creation and building concept something that you see as being part of that?
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I think another aspect of it is that it's up to the player to create their own goal states. When you're in The Sims, you can decide, I want my Sims to be happy or rich, or I want to build a big house or have a great job. SimCity, you can decide, I want to build the biggest city I can, or the happiest residents, or the least crime. So in some sense, I want to have multiple goal states that the user can pursue. And, it's very measurable, that my posse of Voxes has gotten, built a new business, for instance. And other Voxes are coming, to actually frequent that business. Or I want to get them a really cool mansion, whatever it is. But I like the idea that the user actually defines the goal state, and there are multiple goal states that you can pursue.
I dig that. I like that a lot. With me for Sim Farm, it was always, can I build the biggest sheep farm? That was
Yeah.
one of my favorites. Now, as the VOXverse builds out and becomes more and more fleshed out, people are able to choose their own goal states. People are able to sort of build towards something. What sort of experience? And again, please keep in mind, everyone, that we're talking in terms of hypotheticals right now. So nothing said here is a hard promise for it's going to be exactly this way. Okay. What sort of end state do you like in games like that? What is your goal state that you would build towards?
Well, I mean, I want to build a vibrant community. If you look at a real city, you have people pursuing different goals. Some people want to do real estate speculation, or they want to build the best restaurant in the city, or the coolest entertainment center. I want to have a variety of activities that people can pursue with their Voxes. And at the same time, I want to bring a lot of the experiences from the external games back into the Voxes, so that, your Vox will have a memory that this bobcat almost attacked them when they were mining wood or whatever. And now they're afraid of cats, So I really love the idea that the personality of your Voxes becomes kind of a hub of the experiences that you've had in all these games that you've played from there with your Voxes. And then within that, we have this very multidimensional community, people pursuing different goals, interacting, building social networks. You might have your worst enemy in this VOXverse, or your best friends, or a business that you're running. But I feel like, having these different goals, different dimensions of memory coming in from games, or social experiences, or social connections, even the connections between your Voxes, when they maybe, this one's gotten really good at cooking, and it can actually help train your other Vox into cooking, that you can transfer experiences back and forth between Voxes. I just feel like that's a huge kind of test tube that we can use to build unique game experiences.
And well, if I can jump in here, I just wanted to kind of say to the community that obviously these aren't hard promises, but we are here to show you guys kind of the direction that we're going in, and we want to hear your feedback on it. But most metaverses that I've interacted with out there are kind of really centered on the collect, craft, build, acquire a piece of land, build on it so you can get another one, build more stuff. I think the direction we're going is very much breathing life into the avatars themselves and making them really cool and enhancing them and just making them as lovable as fucking possible.
Yeah, and totally unique, so that not only do you have this, Vox character, but they are embedding memories and experiences from all the games that you've played with them.
Exactly. So in a sense, through playing, it gets more unique and more interesting and more.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Rare.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we're kind of going back and forth between the metaphors. Is this a pet or an avatar? But the idea that this thing is very unique to the experiences you've had with it, and it might be in terms of skills it's acquired, or it might just be in terms of its weird personality quirks. I love the idea that these things have developed phobias or superpowers or whatever, or have a limp, based upon things that have happened to them in the games. And so all the stories that you've pulled from these different gaming experiences get embodied in a character.
I love the entourage metaphor. That's my favorite. That they're your posse.
Yeah, I mean, Voxes, and they might hang out. They might initially start as roommates. And eventually they might get their own place, whatever. But these are like best friends, and your posse of Voxes, could be really interesting. Engaging with other posses or working collectively toward a goal.
And also just kind of double clicking on this idea that they're gaining these experiences in game. I think that pairs really nice with our long-term vision for Vox, where we want to bring it. To us, Vox isn't like just one other thing that Gala Games makes. To us, Vox is the epicenter, or like should be the epicenter of Gala Games, a launching pad for you to go into not even just the games, but every entertainment experience or vector that Gala has to offer. Seeing Vox as kind of your launching pad into those, and the glue that kind of sticks all that together. A is just really fucking fun to think about, but B is just so Web3. Like it's all about just bringing different avenues of entertainment together and transversing through them and interoperating between them and having a place to kind of reap the rewards of all that.
Yeah, and also some of the advances right now in AI, we're going to have the opportunity to have these Voxes have conversations with each other and stuff like that. So I think we can embed so much personality into these Voxes over time, as we add more and more features into it, that these things are going to feel, really, really unique and meaningful to the player.
Can I ask you something, Will?
Yeah.
And guys, this is not rehearsed. I promise we did not ask this before, but you made The Sims, like you know a thing or two about breathing personality into little 3D bits of code. How do you do that? What makes something real? What makes someone give a shit about a sim?
One of the things interesting about The Sims was that when people, basically they play the game and they tell stories about what happened, right? And they would say something like, oh, he went over here and did this, and then he got a job, and then he did that. And then I decided to go over here, and I ate, and I made friends with the neighbor. So they jump between third person and first person very easily. Initially they're referring to it as, he did this, he did that. And without even thinking about it, they start saying, then I went to go eat, and I met the neighbor, So I'm very interested in this idea of our kind of perspective shift. That for 1 second, I'm looking at this Vox as a pet or a third person, and then immediately it's my avatar. Now I did this, I did that. I went into Walking Dead and this happened to me. I came back with a limp. I think it's very interesting that we have that ability to kind of jump our perspective of where we are mentally, between characters. And if I have several Voxes, for some time I'm thinking of them as pets. Oh, my Vox did this, my Vox did that. But then, a few seconds later, it's like, then I did this, and I am now that Vox. So I'm actually jumping my consciousness from one Vox to another. And that it's really amazing how that enhances storytelling. And so I want these Voxes to represent the collective stories, the experiences you've had across all these different games.
I love that as well. I think what's been nice with how we've approached it so far is that you really have got like a blank canvas here, because we've purposely kind of created these models in a very minimal way. They're not expressive in any sort of way in the way they stand there in their sort of default pose. They're meant to kind of be very unasserting and just kind of there. And almost all of them are blank canvases. You can't really guess what the personality is. So I think that gives it's just great. I can't wait to see what you can bring to them, because we've done 2 trailers so far, which is the only time they've been in motion. And I think you asked, Will, whether we've done a voice or anything for these Vox characters, and that terrifies me to even think about what they sound like. It's such a I don't even know if I can imagine it. So we've not had them speaking. The only North Star we've got with the Vox characters in these trailers is they're a mixture between Mr. Bean and a minion. So they're sort of lovable but a bit silly, but they mean well, and they normally end up being the accidental hero. Right. That's as far as we've got. So yeah, I'm really excited to see.
These are like 2 more orders of magnitude, really, of expressiveness, because once you see them animated, and this one has a limp, and that one's really excited, excitable, whatever, that's another order of magnitude of reading into them. And then once you hear their voices, whether they're speaking, a recognizable language or not, just hearing their voices is another entire order of magnitude of expressiveness from these things. So I think that over time, these things will become, incredibly expressive and emotionally, connective to the player.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. That's one of the things that I think is really cool is the concept of, sort of emergent behavior and emergent order based on inputs. Oh, so there's a little one. There's a little Charlie there. Hello, little one. It's adorable.
I'll stay on mute. I'll stay on mute for a bit.
Absolutely adorable. Okay, guys, so let's talk a little bit about this now. Before we get to this full-fledged idea of what VOXverse can become, and sort of, I don't want to go so far as to say end game, because I don't ever think something like this has an end. But everything does have a beginning, and before VOXverse can be built, there's going to have to be something else that comes first. I see you smiling, Jonathan. This is your part of this. So, what comes first? What comes before VOXverse is actually built?
Yeah, so I'd love to take that one. I mean, I don't know if we're going to stick with the name necessarily, but Vox Idle is kind of the idea, right? Because VOXverse is going to be a little bit out of the way, and it's a very ambitious and really neat project. We wanted to give you all something that can kind of we can get to you a little sooner. Ollie, I don't know if I'm allowed to say the date that we're shooting for.
You can say the date. Guys, I actually insisted on saying the date because I think you guys deserve a date. And we wanted, the whole kind of point of this is like, we want to do VOXverse right, and we don't at the same time want to leave you hanging for the time that it's going to take to do VOXverse right. And if you're deciphering Will Wright's code here, July 1st is when you can expect to be able to actually do something with your Vox Idle. Take it away, Jonathan. What is that?
Yeah, so Vox Idle, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a big fan of kind of some of the AFK type idle games. And I figured that there could be a really, really fun opportunity to play in Discord. So it will be a Discord game that we're rolling out. I can talk about some of the core gameplay aspects. We've got a prototype actually working, thanks to one of the other people who's really been foundational in the game, Corey. He's awesome. And
Shouts
so
out Corey.
he's great. We've been working together on this project. It's a kind of a passion project of ours. And basically what you're going to be able to do is, and I will preface this with the July 1st date, we don't necessarily know that, we know all features will not be immediately released. So you will be able to do something, but just know that some of this is subject to change. But you will be able to eventually do stuff like tasks, which is going to be, assigning your Vox to do stuff like woodcutting, or mining, various other little like chores, resource gathering, stuff like that. Then you'll have the ability to send them on adventures, which I think is going to be really fun. An adventure is when your Vox goes out, kind of like your old Muds, and he goes out on this adventure. Something happens. Your Vox reacts to it in some way, as potentially gets some kind of memory or some kind of effect, and comes back with a bit of a story. It'll be text based, and some resources or something to show for their trouble. Then the last phase, this will likely be released a little while later down the line, is going to be events. This is going to be a collaborative type of thing where you guys can all work together. So, each Vox has their own things that make them special. And like if I have a chef Vox, for example, or a Vox that has a spatula, they're going to be great at cooking. So we're going to have rolling little events that you'll be able to team up with other people in Discord that own Vox, and you'll be able to participate in these events. And basically, what you'll be able to do is take your Vox, go send them off to this cook-off, and there will be different synergies and things like that. So you might have, for example, if you have, let's say, a halfling, an elf, and an orc, you might get the passive sampler platter. That's just an example. And that could give you some benefit to your cooking. And so I think it'll be a really neat thing. I think it's a really cool first step. You'll be able to be foundational in building VOXverse later, and it should be quite fun on its own.
Guys, I think obviously Jonathan gave that disclaimer around like this will be released in phases, but like absolute headline, like July 1st, you're gonna be able to do something with your Vox, and what that means is you're gonna be able to put it into a game and start to build value around your Vox. And so like the resources that you go out and mine, the experiences that you have on these quests, these are going to mean something. These are going to be material. And Jonathan kind of alluded to this, but we see people that are participating in this as absolutely the founding fathers of Vox, and that means something, and that will mean something. Not to box Will into not to trap Will into a design box, but that will mean something in VOXverse.
No, in fact, I mean, I think we want to take, celebrate the top players in this experience, as we launch the VOXverse, so there might be, potentially statues of the top players in the city center, that these are the people that actually created the resources to initialize VOXverse right off the bat.
Tell me you don't want a statue of your Vox immortalized in the city center of VOXverse. And we can have a conversation about it.
And then one day, there's going to be a revolution. They're going to pull it down, I'm sure.
No, that's terrible. Those who applaud your crowning are also those who are applauding at your beheading. Yeah, to get ourselves a nice big pink Bucks statue in the middle. I think that's an important thing.
But in some sense, this initial game experience is going to be, creating the resources that we initialize the VOXverse with, and so, what you earn in this game is going to determine whether you're homeless living on the street or you have a cool penthouse, and those things we want to transfer directly into the VOXverse when we start it.
So this is like absolutely a leg up in creating value. It is real utility that is really transferable into VOXverse. It's coming July 1st. What else do I want to say about it? It's fucking sorry, I got told off for swearing. It's freaking awesome. Yeah, I really like this idea that there are going to be different efficiencies to different Vox. So like Jonathan mentioned kind of that loop: tasks, adventures, and events. And those look different depending on what kind of Vox you have. And you earn different stuff depending on what kind of Vox you are and what you're doing. And certain things are more valuable than other things in the long run. So like, it's really like, there's something for everyone. And obviously there's something for everyone. Let's leave it at that.
This is also where the different themed Voxes come in, because, your Townstar Vox might be good at farming, your Walking Dead Vox might be good with a shotgun. But together, they actually make a good team, depending on if you want to go rob a bank and cook food, whatever. But it's the combination of abilities that they, can slowly earn that make them a really kind of interesting team together, almost like your Magic deck.
Yeah, and if you're going off on an adventure and something spooky happens, who's better to deal with it than Rick Grimes or someone? Like, he's just going to do better than Townstar Chef.
Right.
And so,
I don't know. Have you seen Townstar Chef? Pretty scary.
You guys are badass. But
well, should we take a few questions from? Should we take a few questions from the community and see what people are curious about? I'm going to ask a question because I'm, because I have the power. So, what makes this concept different than some of the other stuff you've done creatively in the past, Will? Like Spore, for example, or the entire Sims constellation of properties.
Well, each one of those games was its own unique kind of island, right? The Sims had their own attributes. The Spore creatures had their own stats. The challenge here, I think, really is how do we take a multitude of gaming experiences, and right now it's not that many, but eventually it's going to be quite a few. How do we take the experiences from all these different games and bring them back into a character? You know, and you know, a lot of it's just going to be personality. You know, now they have certain, you know, powers or phobias or quirks, eccentricities, but put that into a meaningful experience, so that this Vox that I have, that might have been, you know, kind of interacting with several different games, is now remembering and learning things from these games and interacting with my other Voxes in a community. You know, if you talk about players, you know, and they say, oh, I play this, I play that, I play World of Tanks, you know, TF2. But as a player, you know, I have certain abilities, certain experiences, certain friends that I've made in all these experiences. So I think the Vox becomes kind of a hub for a lot of my gaming experiences outside of the games. You know, this is, it's another world, kind of a meta world, a meta game above all these other games I'm playing. So for me, that's the interesting challenge here, is how do I extract experiences from these other games, bring them back, embed them in a character, and now make a game about that.
I dig that.
And I
Okay,
think,
so
Will, one thing here, Jace, I think like that's such a really good metaphor. The metaphor I love, and I don't know if this is anyone else loves this, but I really love thinking of this as the friends feature of the future. Like this is, you know, the things that you're describing, like having experiences and talking about them and chit chatting and decompressing, whatever. Like that's what you do with your friends in games. But making that a game is really interesting.
I mean, always the
super
interesting part to me has been the stories that people tell me. You know, they don't tell me the stories about the cutscene they saw in Mario or whatever. They tell about the unique experiences they had in Grand Theft Auto or something, you know. And this is the really cool, unique thing that nobody ever did Grand Theft Auto that I did. And it's sharing of those experiences. If we can take those experiences and embed them back into a game character and now make a game about that, that to me is just fascinating.
I absolutely love that. Absolutely. I think that finding ways to bring all of this together and have that sort of you know, continual evolution process, I think that that's super neat. Okay, so I got a couple questions here. This is a question from Donnie. I don't know if this can be answered. I will leave it to you guys. Do we know what the price of the TWD Vox is going to be, or what is the thinking around that?
To be announced.
Okay, to be announced. No leaks, no alpha on that.
Keep an eye out, Donnie.
Okay, there you go. Am I going to traumatize my Vox if I always leave it in the Walking Dead Empire? Okay, let's see. No launch price yet. I'm just going through. Everybody wants to know prices. Everybody wants to know prices. Okay, so let me go ahead and throw one more thing at you here. Do you intend on buying the Walking Dead Vox, Will? Gonna get one of those for yourself?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah,
There you go.
One for every experience, for sure.
What is it that you feel makes blockchain technology ideal for the gaming world?
Oh, was that for me?
Sure, or for anyone who wants to throw something in there. But of the five of us on the call, you're the only one who is a recognized, complete and total god tier badass in game development. So I'd put it on you.
No, but I think the blockchain thing is interesting to me because the fact that we can enforce, you know, ownership. With the Sims community, we had a lot of issues where people would create cool custom stuff for the Sims. They put it on their website. Some of these websites were even subscription fan sites, you know, but other people would actually download it, pirate it, and put it on their website, you know. So we weren't able to actually keep track of the creators, and there was a lot of animosity within the community, a lot of kind of conflict that happened. But I really think the creators of content in games should absolutely get credit for it, because I feel like they're adding a huge amount of value. Probably half the value to a lot of games right now is coming from custom content created by the players, and I love the idea that they can actually share in the value of what they've created, and we can track that. And they can choose to sell it or not or whatever. But blockchain seems to be the most secure technology that we have right now for tracking ownership for creators. So that's the thing that really attracted me to it.
I like that. I agree. I think that concept of ownership and the ability to really control your own creations is pretty critical.
In this situation, I might have a Vox and I might have a lot of game experiences. They might get some superpowers, experiences, eccentricities, whatever. But they're embedded in my Vox, and nobody can steal it. Nobody can take it. I can maybe sell it to somebody if I want to, or trade it. But I'm secure in the knowledge that I own that Vox and I control its destiny.
Perfect. Very well said. Is Vox Idle, and this may be a question for you, Jonathan, is Vox Idle going to have skill progression or XP as a concept?
Yeah, so that's something that is currently still kind of being discussed a little bit. And so I can't say for certain, but I can say that it's certainly something that I'm leaning towards, because I think that permanent progression is really important in those kinds of games. I think that, your Vox actually changing over time is really important and critical. And so I don't know about you guys, at least I like to know that I'm making some progress. And I love to have those little drops. A big inspiration for it is definitely Melvor Idol, for instance, and other games such as Dwarf Fortress and NetHack. And so I think that experience will likely be a thing. I can't promise it.
And I will say here,
Totally
like
fair.
there's a really cool kind of spec for the whole XP and progression system that Jonathan and Corey put together, and like, just to say that it's absolutely being discussed and absolutely on the table, not something that we can flat out absolutely guarantee right now, but it's definitely something we all want.
We're also discussing the idea of whether, so your Vox always has its skill or experience or whatever, but it might be earning resources. And if you choose to sell or trade your Vox, you might choose to keep the resources it's earned as an employee for you, but it takes its experience when it goes, So you might actually have a Vox for some period of time, collect the resources almost like an employee, then trade that Vox later, keep the resources, but only sell the Vox with its experience.
And experience
Perfect.
there being sort of around interesting quirks, cool, like, unique factors that the Vox has accumulated over time through its experiences, haven't gone through.
Right. It might be better doing something, or it might have a limp, depending on some of the storytelling adventures it went through. But so it'll go with its personality and its skills. But in the meantime, you might have actually, had it earning resources for you that you keep.
Nice. I like it. Question, Jonathan. Do you see any potential room for the Vox land from Galaverse in Vox Idle? Is that something that you're thinking about, or is that not on the radar right now?
That is definitely on the radar. I think ideally Vox Idle needs to really make all of the NFTs and things like that related to Vox come in handy in some form or fashion. I think that's really critical to fulfill on that promise. And I know it'll be fulfilled on for sure in VOXverse, but I feel like it's good to have something before that as well. And so I can't say exactly the current kind of what we're thinking about, and this would be a phase 4 type of thing. If phase 1 is either tasks or adventures, and phase 2 is events, then phase 3 or 4 would likely be, or possibly be, something dealing with being able to actually build on your land. If we don't end up going that route, it may just provide a slight buff or something like that. But I would really like to see it as a part of a global map. It's going to depend, I think, too, on how much the community enjoys the game.
I'm sure that the community is going to love it. I know I look forward to playing. One of the things that I find interesting about this concept is we're talking about this as within the context of a Discord game. Does this mean Vox is going to have its own Discord?
You're jumping ahead to my announcements at the end, but absolutely, there's an
Oh, am
intention.
Shit,
Well,
sorry.
no, it wasn't in the agenda. No, I just have a list of things I want to make sure we hit before we leave, and one of them is this idea that we are spinning Vox off into its own Discord, just to kind of we want to start like bolstering the community as we get closer and closer to VOXverse. Anyone who's been on the website and seen the email sign up form, that's not a sign up for like the general Gala email list. That is like a separate Vox thing. And there's a promise of free stuff. And the free thing that you're getting there is a membership NFT to the Vox squad. And the details of exactly what that gets you is what will be announced as we get closer and closer to Vox Idle, and even as we get closer to this launch. But yeah, absolutely, the intention of spinning the Vox community off and growing that community and starting to I can't think of another word other than bolster, but bolster is the direction we're going in. And so yes, Vox Discord coming soon.
Awesome. Okay. So sorry, I didn't mean to jump ahead to your announcements there. That's gonna be pretty cool though. I'm looking forward to seeing that. But wait, so you're saying that if I were to go and sign up on the Collect Vox site with the email thing, then I'm getting an NFT for that?
Mm-hmm.
Did I understand that correctly? Just making sure, because I'm sure that there's a lot of people going to that site to sign up right now. And the best ones are probably going
it's
to their,
not just an NFT. Oh, sorry, Jace. Got a bit delay here, but I just wanted to say it's not just an NFT. It's being designed by Natalia, who leads the voxel art team. So she is incredibly talented, and she's sort of designing what this membership NFT could look like. So just wanted to add that little bit on top.
That's incredible. The really cool people are also telling their friends on social media to go sign up as well. That's going to be cool.
Happening.
I'm gonna have to go sign up too, because I love I absolutely love what has been created here. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions that people have. They're going to go try to break the site. Oh, interesting. Zeta says, and this is just a thing for the PMs running things, that it'd be nice to get the FBX files back. The TWD update apparently has made it so those are not visible any longer. So just as a general note for you guys. So there you go, Zeta. They want.
Wait. Zeta, can you take that up with me in Discord, NF Doom? I just want to kind of understand more what you mean. Unless Jace, you get it and you can explain it right now. But
I'll explain it later, or I'll let you guys deal with it.
Cool.
But okay, now since we're coming up on closing this out, and there's apparently a secret list of announcements, is there anything else that you'd like to cover before we finish up?
Is that to me? Is that my list?
That's to anyone. I don't know how many secret announcement lists may be on this call. There's up to 4 of them, because I don't have one.
Anyone going once, going twice?
One thing I just wanted to address that I saw as a comment real quick, if that's okay, is people are talking about managing multiple Vox, what you do if you have multiples. And so the idea is definitely going to be that they're like employees, that you can send off to do a thing. And it shouldn't be too difficult if you have multiples to manage multiples, right? You're going to want to own more to be able to actually do the various events and things like that. Although it should be fully playable entirely like with one, right? we want you to be able to enjoy the full experience with however many you have.
I'd like it also if the multiples could basically pool the resources that you earned as you go into VOXverse, and so again, they might be roommates, in a shared space because they pool their resources, to purchase that.
And I think, yeah, it's I like the employees metaphor, Jonathan, and absolutely like the kind of the whole point here is like each Vox has its efficiency or has its, I hate the word synergy, but has like something that it's better at than other boxes. And so it goes off and it does that thing, and that might be more or less valuable. But I think Will's the one who made this analogy, but it's sort of like a magic deck. Like you kind of want to, like, there'll be ways to optimize the build, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, the boxes will have different skill sets, and together they might be a really efficient team.
Exactly. And this will be true for VOXverse, but also absolutely true for Vox Idle. And so like Walking Dead Vox are, and this isn't canon here, but just kind of spitballing the line of thinking is like Walking Dead Vox have been are more accustomed to trauma, and so they get less scared in spooky situations, and so they're better at retrieving things from deep dark caves, and that's where all the diamonds are. So and that might be more or less valuable than Robotron's ability to do Robotron. That's John. Farmbot. That's what I'm thinking. Farmbot's ability to do crazy Farmbot stuff. But yeah, so it's it'll be narrative, and there'll be different efficiencies depending on which Vox you own, and if you own multiple, you can start to kind of optimize that deck. And then, as Will kind of said, like there is absolutely like it's a fun experience, and we want everyone there. We want everyone building value. We want everyone kind of. You guys are our OGs. You guys are the guys that were here first, and so we want everyone here starting to build value for themselves in VOXverse before we can fully deliver the VOXverse dream. But I forgot the second part of that statement. But yeah, we want you guys in there. We want you guys to start seeing, being able to do cool stuff.
Yeah, and the more progress people make in Vox Idle, the quicker we will bootstrap, the VOXverse city.
There you go.
Yeah, you're building it, and obviously the people that contribute the most to building it and are able to harvest the most resources and just do the most in Vox Idle are the ones that we see being kind of immortalized in the VOXverse as sort of founding fathers. I think everyone who participates will be some sort of a founding father, but there will be obviously varying degrees depending on how involved you get and how much you can contribute to the effort.
I'm sorry. What is your name on Discord?
N as in Nathan, F as in fabric, Doom as in Doom, like the game.
There you go.
And F
November Foxtrot Doom.
Oh yeah, that's way better. That's real phonetics.
way better than Nathan Fabric. Nathan Fabric is kind of lame. Okay, are there any other announcements that you guys would like to drop? Any other hot leaks? Any alpha?
Well, not so much hot alpha, but just like some maybe technical stuff. So first off, I got a lot of questions yesterday on how the drop is going to work. Like, are people going to be guaranteed anything if they own a Vox or whatever? We obviously want to support the greatest supporters of the Gala community. And so for this time, we're instituting kind of a different mechanic to the drop. We are doing, for anyone who operates 2 or more founders nodes, so that's 2 plus founders nodes, owner operators, you will be guaranteed a VOXbox. To be clear, that's not free mint, that is guaranteed mint, and that's 1 VOXbox. And that'll happen in a pre-sale shortly before the open general sale. So if you have 2 or more founders nodes, you have guaranteed access to purchase a VOXbox this time around. So that was one thing.
Just to be clear, I think you should probably be running those founders nodes too, not just owning them. Just saying. sorry,
running.
continue on.
So yeah, just those people that are kind of super deep rooted in our ecosystem. That's just something we wanted to do for you guys. So that's announcement one. The other thing is I was kind of chatting to the guys here before, and I got a lot of sense. Like I think everyone on the Gala side feels this in Discord. Is like sometimes when there's ever frustration on the community side, a little bit of communication between us usually tends to resolve that. And I think it just speaks to a problem of opacity from you guys' side. Like we could be busting ass, hauling ass, doing, trying our hardest to deliver on dreams and promises and stuff, but you guys don't see that. All you see is, or I'm sure a lot of you appreciate it, but you're not actively involved in the process a lot of the times. And so we are committing to doing monthly check-ins with you guys. We can start like a month from today, but I'm sure Carrie will help me organize an exact date for the next one, where we check in on the progress of VOXverse. We'll have Will and the guys, and we'll just kind of talk about what's been done in the month prior, where we're at, kind of stepping stones towards the larger dream, just to keep everyone involved, get people's input, kind of hear what cool stuff you want to see, what's maybe not doing it for you, what's something that we haven't thought of that's really going to enhance the whole situation. And so, yeah, just committing to those monthly check-ins with you guys. Yeah, more details on that to come in terms of actual timings and stuff. And then that's that. Another question I kept getting was I saw a lot of frustration yesterday about town economy and like adding more Vox to town economy and stuff. Just to clarify, and this is in the FAQs on the website, these Vox will not be placeable in town. They will not earn town. And this is like the reason that we waited until now to kind of announce Vox Idle, is because we kind of want to make it clear that this is the start of the era where Vox do their own thing, their utilities in and of themselves, and you kind of take them into idle, and you start to gather that value, create that value for yourself, get your leg up over, someone who might buy whatever the next 3 generations from now or whatever. But yeah, so that's that. And then one last thing, this is just like, I know a lot of people were talking about Vox Coin yesterday. Vox Coin, just to kind of address the elephant in the room, absolutely still on the radar, on the roadmap. The reason, and I'm sure people will be asking this, that Vox Idle is not powered by Vox Coin, or you're not directly earning Vox Coin, is because doing a coin launch properly takes some time, and it takes external stakeholders, and it's not completely in our control. And so while we are full steam ahead on that, we did not want to hold the game hostage or hold utility hostage until we were able to do that. And so the resources that you're gathering, your ability to contribute to the founding of VOXverse, your ability to create value for yourself ahead of VOXverse in this game, is kind of the utility that we can provide, that is still really cool and really valuable and really gonna differentiate people that partake in this from people that don't, once VOXverse materializes. So we're delivering that, and we will deliver VoxCoin. But we wanted to decouple those two things so that timelines could be better for you guys. That's my piece.
Perfect. Does anyone else have anything that they would like to say?
This is going to be cool.
Yeah.
I fully agree. This is going to be absolutely amazing. It is. I've very rarely been this happy and excited to be working with such an awesome team. You guys are absolutely amazing. So with that, I will go ahead and we can wrap this up. Thank you guys very much. Thank you, Will, for taking the time to join us, and we'll go from there. Peace out, guys, and have a wonderful rest of your day.
Okay.